Hi friends, it's time for another unhaul. I am pretty committed to getting my bookshelves in order. Behind me is my fiction TBR, not including classics, but it does include middle grade. Middle grade is kind of down there. And it does include also books of the month. They're down there. I'm really trying to do a 1-for-1 at minimum. If I bring in a book, I need to get rid of a book. Is that working? Not especially, well, I'm just not keeping track. I'm kind of looking at general. Does that make sense? I have a stack of books that I've gone through. My nonfiction books are kind of in a few different places in the house. Mainly because I don't have a bookshelf this big anywhere else. But I probably have the same amount of nonfiction as I do fiction on my TBR. I used to be primarily a nonfiction reader, had really kind of lost my interest in fiction, probably when I was doing my English degree, because I read a lot of classics and I read a few here and there. I remember reading the Da Vinci Code when everyone was reading that, and The Help when everybody was reading that. But I pretty much stuck with classics, Jane Austen, Edith Wharton. Those were kind of my favorites. And then I loved nonfiction. I just love learning about things, and that's still true. But I have kind of found my interest in fiction again, as y'all have seen if you've been here for a minute. So yeah, this is a mixture of fiction and nonfiction. The nonfiction I haven't gone through as closely as I did the fiction. The fiction books I rearranged. I used to have stacks because there were so many. I had stacked the paperbacks and put the hardcovers between the stacks, and I just put them all the same way. Now, the nonfiction, like I said, is on a couple of different shelves, so I haven't gone through all of those yet. All right, let's start it off. This is a nonfiction called Minority Leader, How to Lead from the Outside and Make Real Change by Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams is a romance writer. She's also a lawyer and a Georgia politician from several years back. She ran for governor a couple of times. I've read her work before, nonfiction and fiction. Enjoyed it. Her fiction I read was kind of over my head. She's a very smart lady, and it was about genetics and legal loopholes and things like that. But I have read her nonfiction. I have consumed it on audio because she reads her nonfiction, and I kind of prefer that. So I don't need a hard copy, a physical copy of this. C.S. Lewis, The Screwtape Letters. I got this, there was a read-along a couple years ago, maybe, on booktube for The Screwtape Letters, and I did not get to read it when the group did, and then I tried to read it myself, and I had tried to read this a number of years ago. It's just not for me. I like C.S. Lewis's nonfiction, Christian living type books, but this one's over my head, basically. This was one of my mom's books, Farm to Trouble by Amanda Flower. This is a first of a new series. And I started it, a little bit of it, and if I do read it, I'm going to read it on audio. This is a book that I have read parts of it. It is a short story collection. No, it's a novel. See, this one confused me, and when reading it, it confused me too. Lives of Girls and Women by Alice Munro. It's the only novel from Alice Munro, autobiographical in form but not in fact, and chronicles a young girl's growing up in rural Ontario in the 1940s. I just didn't like it, unfortunately. A number of these I am planning to read. If I read them, I will read them on audio, and I don't need hard copies of these. Most of them I think I've gotten at library book sales when I used to let myself go to library book sales. This is The Brilliant Life of Eudora Honeysett by Annie Lyons. The cover looks fun. The inside flap says, infused with emotional power of Me Before You and the irresistible charm of Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine, and Be Frank with Me, a moving and joyous novel about an elderly woman ready to embrace death and a little girl who reminds her what it means to live. So that does sound like a Michele book. It sounds interesting. Did I read Me Before You? I know I saw the movie, and Eleanor Oliphant is one of my favorite books. I just think I'm gonna read this by audiobook and don't need a physical copy. Again, the other Mrs. by Mary Kubica. I haven't read her yet. I do enjoy thrillers. Haven't been reading as many lately, I feel like. I think I would do this on audio. Even the thriller books that I have kept physical copies of, I have listened to the audiobook. It's just really fun to listen. For me, it's fun to listen to thrillers on audio. This is Fly Away by Kathleen Jennings. I tried to read this and could not get into it. This says, in a small western Queensland town, a reserved young woman receives a note from one of her vanished brothers, a note that makes her question her memories of their disappearance and their father's departure. I had tried this. I tried to read it and could not follow it. I really like the cover. This, I should mention, most of these books will be going on my Pango store, which is always linked below. This is a proof copy that I think I did get from a library book sale, but it went to support the library, so you know, whatever dollar I paid for it was fine. But I won't sell the proof copies, so this will go in a little free library probably. This one is Tom Sullivan with Betty White, Together, a Story of Shared Vision. It's a dog book. It's Betty White. This is about Brendan McCarthy pursued success with a singular focus, but then a mountain climbing misstep turned tragic. He put his career in medicine, his family, even his pending marriage on hold. If he couldn't see, what good was he to anyone? A black lab named Nelson, abandoned at Golden Gate Park as a puppy, was just trying to make it through each day until a seeing eye dog trainer saw something special in the little pup's eyes. So it's basically a fiction book about a man who goes blind and he meets a dog that helps him gain back his independence and learn to be independent again. I did a lot of research and volunteering with assistive dogs when I was in graduate school. I've probably had this book since then and never read it. So yeah, I'm gonna pass that on. This one, The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This is book one of Winter Night trilogy. I am just not interested in this as I thought I would be. I tried it, and it's just not my kind of book. It seems like it's more fantasy. I don't know. Winter lasts most of the year at the edge of the Russian wilderness, and in the long nights, Vasilia and her siblings love to gather by the fire to listen to their nurse's fairy tales. Above all, Vasya loves the story of Frost, the blue-eyed winter demon. Wise Russians fear him, for he claims unwary souls, and they honor the spirits that protect their homes from evil. Then Vasya's widowed father brings home a new wife from Moscow. Fiercely devout, Vasya's stepmother forbids her family from honoring their household spirits, but Vasya fears that what this may bring, and indeed misfortune begins to stalk the village. And then grows into a harsh stepmother and all that entails. Y'all tell me, I don't think this is a Michele kind of book, but let me know if you've read it, if you think I would like it. I'm not really into the whole fantasy world, but I don't know. Then I also wonder, am I not giving it a chance? So this is just one that I saw on Amazon. It was like a self-published through the Amazon app that authors can self-publish on. And this is called Find Them by Julia Ash. Lot 16 was never to be sold. Generations pass and the estate's directive is overturned. Situated on a grassy hilltop overlooking a lake and wildlife preserve, the 30-acre parcel is perfect for Nora and Dex. They'll escape their city's rising crime, build a home with an amazing view, work remotely, and start a family. Only their idyllic sanctuary becomes anything but. And then it goes into kind of like a ghost story. I've had this for a couple years and I just don't reach for it. So I'm gonna, pass that one on. This one I've really had for years, like years. I can't even remember how many times I've moved this book and I still have not read it. I also have put it on like must read or get rid of lists that I did not finish. I think it was last year. And this is The Weight of Silence by Heather Gutenkopf. This is from 2009. I think it's about two girls that go missing. And one of them comes back maybe, and the other doesn't come back, and one's got mutism, doesn't say what happened. Anyway, the parents are suspected. Again, first off, I've never read Heather Gutenkopf. I do want to try her works, and I'm gonna probably start with one of her more recent books. And if I like it, I'll go back and read the early ones. However, I'll probably do it on audio. So I don't need to keep moving this book around if I move again. This is part of a series that, I got ages ago. This is The Lighthouse by P.D. James, part of the Adam Dalgleish mystery. Cornish coast, a restful haven for the elite when one of its distinguished visitors is found hanged from the island's famous lighthouse in what appears to have been a murder. The peace is shattered. And then the detective investigates. I've never reached for this. This is another one that I got at a library book sale and haven't reached for it. This is I Wish I Had a Red Dress by Pearl Clegg. My sister did a ballet to a play by Pearl Clegg, and I really liked it, and was hoping to get more into her work, and I just never have. I'm not sure. I might try this and see if I like it before getting rid of it. It's a lot about grief. I have a lot of stuff about grief, right? Another one that I got a long time ago, I don't remember where I got this. This is A Passage North by Anuk. I can't even say that. This was shortlisted for the Booker Prize in, what year were you published in? The pages are sticking together. 2021, so it's not that old. A Passage North begins with a message from out of the blue. A telephone call informing Krishan that his grandmother's caretaker, Rainey, has died under unexpected circumstances. The news arrives on the heels of an email from Anjum, a woman Krishnan fell in love with years before while living in Delhi, stirring old memories and desires from a world he left behind. And he makes a long train journey from Colombo into a war-torn northern province for Rainey's funeral. And it goes into an account of the legacy of Sri Lanka's 30-year civil war. So I wonder if I got this a couple years ago when it was on a prize list and just never got to it. So that one I'm getting rid of too. This might be one that I try. I might do maybe like a try chapter. This is Rules for Visiting by Jessica Frances Kane. At 40, May Attaway is more at home with plants than people. Over the years, she's turned inward, finding pleasure in language, her work as a university gardener, and keeping her neighbors at arm's length while keenly observing them. But when she is unexpectedly granted some leave from her job, May is inspired to reconnect with 4 once close friends. She knows they will never have a proper reunion, so she goes one by one to each of them. A student of the classics, May considers her journey a female odyssey. What might the world have had if, instead of waiting, Penelope had set out on an adventure of her own? I didn't love the Odyssey, but I'd heard good things about this book. I will try it. This is one that I have kind of dipped in and out of. This is Healing After Loss, Daily Meditations for Working Through Grief by Martha Whitmore Hickman. And it's a very small book, and it also is kind of a book that goes by date and gives you just a quote. Like this is from Percy Shelley. Oh, woe is me, winter is come and gone, but grief returns with the revolving year. And then it goes into just something about grief. I have found this helpful, and I'm gonna move it on for someone else. So this is one that I got in the mountains a couple years ago. It's an older book, and this is After by Marita Golden. After joining the police force and building a family with his wife Bunny, Carson Blake is finally in control of his life in the enclave where African-American wealth and privilege share the same zip code with Black American crime and tragedy. Both Carson and his wife have great careers and 3 beautiful children. Carson is a devoted father, determined not to be the father that Jimmy Blake was to him. But while his son Juwan's astounding artistic talent is his father's pride, the boy's close relationship with classmate Will conjures up emotions and questions in Carson that threatens to spill over and poison the entire Blake family. And then one night in March, nearing the end of a routine shift, Carson stops a young Black man for speeding. And then there's an altercation and goes into the surviving man's life after the altercation. I haven't picked up this book to read it, I think probably because it's such a heavy topic. So I'm going to get rid of that one. This one I haven't reached for either. I've never read this author, and I've heard some mixed reviews. This is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowley. Two Misfits, One Extraordinary Love. I think one of the main reasons is this is YA. I'm not a huge YA reader, but I really did like the cover. Let me know if you've read this and if you recommend it. I do also have a couple of Bible studies that I had gotten from, what's it called? The Daily Grace Co. That I have gone through, but I have not written in the books. So this is Chosen, a study on the book of Ephesians. I have James, The Steadfast Life. And then Grace in the Wilderness, a study on the book of 1 Peter. But I have not written in them. You can kind of see how they are. And that I haven't written in them. I'm trying to show. Okay, I haven't. When I do Bible studies, I use my journal, and these are ready to go on to someone else who's interested in doing these. So that's the book haul, or the book unhaul for March. We're going to try and do some more next month. And I can say that there will probably be a couple of books that I am unhauling that are new releases that I have read for different things, different prizes that may be in my Pango shop coming up. But I will share those with you in April. So these two I'm going to keep and try a chapter. If you'd like to come back and hear my thoughts on those and find out what other books I unhauled, because I've hauled books one for one, trying to at least do that. Consider subscribing, hit the like button, and let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these, if you recommend them. If you have any books that you think I might enjoy, put them in the comments below. Let me know what you're reading too. Hope you're doing well, and I will see you soon. Bye.